Hello everybody, my name is Irina Liferchuk and I'll be presenting on the topic of acromegaly. I became interested in this topic when I first saw a before and after picture of a woman named Mary Ann Bevan, and she was considered the world's ugliest woman. Um, and then before picture she was very beautiful, and so it made me wonder like how did she get this title? And so I did some research and she had a disorder called acromegaly. Now, acromegaly, according to the Mayo Clinic, it is a hormonal disorder that is developed when the pituitary gland it produces too much growth hormone. And so I drew a little diagram to show you guys how growth hormone is actually produced. So this is the pituitary gland, and this turquoise part, it's the hypothalamus. So this is a little zoomed in area. And so the hypothalamus, it releases a hormone called the growth hormone releasing hormone. And so this hormone, it's going to travel through the hypophyseal portal system right here. And you see these are little capillaries. And this area is basically where the hypothalamus and the pituitary, like, they meet and they combine. And so this hormone is going to travel all the way down into the somatotroph cells. And so whenever it reaches them, it's going to bind to them. And then in response, the somatotroph cells are going to produce the growth hormone. And so, and ways to make the growth hormone stop being produced, the GHRH hormone is going to signal the hypothalamus to, like, hey, stop. They don't need any more growth hormones, so let's stop. So then the hypothalamus stops sending it. And so that's one of the ways to, like, regulate it. And the problem with acromegaly is that it's a tumor. So it's a benign tumor, so it's not cancerous. And so this tumor, it's going to be on the interior of the pituitary gland. And so it causes, like, it's called the somatotroph tumor, and it causes an excess of growth hormones. And in a study done by Masaaki Yamamoto and Yutaka Takahashi, they reported that over 95% of acromegaly cases were actually caused by the tumor. And so the tumor, the excess of the growth hormone, it goes into the bloodstream, and in there it signals the liver to produce another hormone. This is a very important hormone called the insulin-like growth factor 1 hormone. So this hormone, it's actually in charge of growing the other hormones. It makes the bones stronger, it grows the other tissues, it makes the organs bigger. And so in a normal body, it's gonna develop the growth development. But in the case of acromegaly, it's gonna actually cause excessive growth. And so you'll see excessive growth, like signs of acromegaly would be excessive growth of hands, large feet, a bigger head, like bigger facial features. And then you would also see hydrosis, which is excessive sweating, and with it comes odor. And so you will also see skin tags, and then enlarged organs inside the body if you do, like, a scan. And so this disease, what's interesting, it's not developed overnight. It's developed over a couple years. So a person will tell if they have it if, like, they have a ring, and one day not one day, but over time it just stops fitting right. That could be a sign of acromegaly. And then if they have an increased foot size, shoe size, then they also have acromegaly. Or if, say, over years you didn't see a relative and you see them again, and you notice that they have a big head, bigger than last time you saw them, and that's another sign of acromegaly. And so what happens if acromegaly, if it's not treated, it can lead to some serious health problems and even an early death. And so some conditions it can cause is type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure because the enlarged heart, and then heart disease from it. I really liked the article written by the National Institute of Health and Human Services. It talks a lot about acromegaly and, like, the treatments for it and, like, what doctors can do for treatment. And so wherever, if it's treated, if the tumor is removed and stuff, the symptoms can go away, and they can actually be like reversible, like go away altogether. And let's say if you have big hands from the acromegaly, it can just reverse the symptoms of it. And so the ways doctors treat it, like they had to get a diagnosis. So you get diagnosed by an MRI scan, a CT scan, and then to see how high the level of the insulin like growth factor 1 is in your blood. And if it's high, that means you have acromegaly. And so once somebody gets diagnosed, they have 3 options of treatment. So the first one is going to be surgery, and this surgery, it's called the transphenoid surgery. So this is very interesting. It's where the doctor goes through the nasal cavity right here into the open space in the brain, and they remove this tumor like that from the pituitary gland. And so they would consider it a success if after 12 weeks they do the blood test, and they notice that the levels of growth hormone and the insulin like factor, growth factor 1, the levels have dropped. So they consider it successful after 12 weeks. The second option is medicine. And so the first one is going to be the somatostatin analog, which is an injection, and it actually inhibits the production of growth hormone, and in turn it will make the tumor smaller. From the 3 medicines that I'm going to describe, it's the safest. Like the side effects aren't that bad. And so on the second one is the dopamine agonist, which it also, the same thing as the somatostatin analog, it also inhibits the production of the growth hormone, and it decreases the size of the pituitary tumor adenoma. That's what it's called. The tumor is called the pituitary adenoma, and it will decrease the size, but the side effects of it are very high and risky. And then the last one is the growth hormone receptor agonist, and this actually blocks the growth hormone from signaling the insulin like growth factor 1 from just to make more of it. So it just blocks the connection between the growth hormone and the IGF-1 factor hormone. And then the last one, this is like the last attempt, and it's the radiation therapy. So this is recommended if the surgery didn't go well, or if the tumor wasn't fully removed, they would use radiation. And another reason why they would use it is if medicine isn't an option, or if it just didn't work well for you. And so that's like the last resort. So they'll use radiation therapy to treat acromegaly. And so that concludes my presentation. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you for listening.